Hey everybody!
Hello!
Welcome back to the Chosen Chat. My name's Justin.
And I'm Kerri.
And if you've been following along with us, we want to say thank you for doing that. We pray that these conversations that Kerri and I are having about the Chosen TV show have helped you walk through the TV show and hopefully have some conversations with the people around you about what God is teaching you and how God is revealing himself to you. So today we're going to be in Season 2, Episode 4. Episode 4. And we're just moving right along here. So the first question, and all the questions are in the description below, along with any scripture references that are made in the episode or scriptures that would help you understand the context of the episode. And so the first question that we ask is, what stood out to you? What grabbed your attention from this episode? Where's the place where you wanted to hit the pause button? Or was there a character that you really resonated with? And so, Kerri, for you, what grabbed your attention about this episode?
All right, so first, we didn't discuss this.
No, we didn't. We're doing this on the fly.
So I have two.
Okay.
Hopefully, I don't steal yours.
That's fine. You can steal.
All right. So I do want to say, because I always have to give my little tidbit, most of this episode was fictionalized. The healing of the man at the pool of Bethesda, that absolutely happened. We don't know if he was the brother of Simon the Zealot.
Yeah.
We don't know exactly what Simon the Zealot was doing, but all of this is plausible.
But Simon the Zealot was a disciple of Jesus.
Simon the Zealot was a disciple of Jesus. Simon the Zealot was a zealot, and
Yeah.
zealots did the things that Simon was planning.
Being trained to do.
Exactly. So I have no problem with any of the way the episode handled it. But the part that stood out to me, and you've preached about this, when Jesus gets in the face of the man, Jesse, in the episode, and says, "Do you want to be healed?" And he's like, "What are you going to do? Are you going to carry me to water? And I can't." And he says, "I'm not talking about who is in front of you, who's behind you, who's preventing you. I'm talking about you." And I wanted to hit the pause button because how many times have we struggled for so long? And we're like, if this person would just do this thing, and if this person... And it's honestly, we need to be asking, what change do I need to make?
Yes.
And do I really want to get one?
What do I want?
What do I want?
Yeah, as we say, get our wanter out on the table. Go ahead and name the desire.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
good.
That was a good moment.
Yeah. For me, it was the conversation that Jesus had with his disciples at the table.
Good. That was my other one.
Was it really? Okay. So they were celebrating the, what's it called?
Sukkot, the Feast of Booths.
The Feast of Booths.
Yeah.
And he said, there was a line that Jesus said in there that, man, I actually texted it to myself. And it was something like this. It was that we've all been through our own wilderness.
Yes, that was my other moment.
We've all been through our own wilderness. And the disciples, these are Jewish men, part of the people of God, Israel. Israel has experienced times of being in the wilderness, times where they've lived in tents because of Babylon, now the Roman Empire, Pharaoh, like all these times when they've lived in the wilderness.
Yeah. And
correct me if I'm wrong, but this celebration of the booths is a remembrance of how God took care of them and provided for them in those times, right?
Yeah, it is. It's honestly kind of like our equivalent to Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so they're complaining because there's this prophecy that all enemies, everyone, their enemies, all people will eventually sit at this table.
Yeah.
And they don't see how that's possible. And what Jesus points out is that we've all had a wilderness.
Yeah.
Not just the people of God. And for me, what that brought up was that we've all experienced seasons of pain.
Yeah.
Seasons that were really, really difficult and really hard. And so the storyline is for Jesse, like he has lost the use of his legs.
Yeah.
And even Simon, I don't know if we all would make this connection, but Simon being the brother of Jesse in this episode also experienced his own pain watching his brother.
Oh, absolutely.
Now here's my question for us. What pain causes us all to do different things, to respond in different ways, whether that's becoming cynical, if that's becoming vengeful, if that's becoming apathetic, being frozen. I'm wondering for you, and I didn't ask you this before.
Did not.
And I'm wondering for all of you, what does pain cause you to do? What is your natural response? So it seems that while you think about that and process that, it seems that for Jesse, he has become very cynical, very jaded. He's frozen. For Simon, he has become very vengeful. He's going to find revenge. He's going to seek revenge. It's led to violence. So what is it for you?
I overfunction.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I was just talking to my counselor, Nathan, about this yesterday. So when I'm faced with hard times or pain, I go on a mad research binge. Like, let me find out everything I can about this situation. And then let me see if there's a loophole or a solution, or if I'm just not working hard enough to fix it, because I cannot accept the fact that I'm going to just be in pain. And so I do everything I can to make it not be that.
So overfunctioning is also a response to other people, what we seem to think or perceive to be other people's underfunctioning.
Yeah.
So when you're overfunctioning, then are you perceiving that the rest of the world around you is underfunctioning?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like,
is there an example that comes to mind?
the entire past month of my life. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, I have a son that is medically complex, and he has had some medical issues over the past month, and we've had a hospitalization. He's fine now, but his disease is very rare. And so a lot of times I don't have enough compassion for the doctors, that they just don't know. And instead I'm like, I can't believe they don't know everything about my kid. I know everything about my kid. And so I'm like in the hospital room Googling, and I'm like, see, this is what this is. And I mean, I'm nice about it, but like, I feel like if I can learn more, because the doctors aren't learning enough.
Well, you say you're nice about it, but here's the thing. So we have an internal dialogue and an external experience. Yes. Your external experience might be that you're nice.
Yes, but my
Your
internal
dialogue is raging.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So I think I was thinking about this. For me, sorry. Oh man. I think that whenever I experience pain, I become cynical. And so if there was somebody that I resonated with, and this is really weird to say, because I've never experienced the suffering that Jesse is experiencing, but I've experienced the heart suffering that he's experiencing, that Simon points out.
Yeah.
And that is that deep cynicism. And it is paralyzing. It is paralyzing.
Yeah.
And so I think I resonated that scene where the two of them are talking at the pool. I could see it felt like I was connecting with Jesse's eyes. The pain of all of this has led to a place where there's no hope.
Yeah.
And so so I think that's it for me. I wonder for all of you, like, how do you respond to wilderness seasons or to pain or suffering, things not going the way that you expect them to go?
Right.
What is your natural response? All right, so what's the good news? We've named some bad news here. We've named some pain points. From this episode, what's the good news that comes to the surface, or what do you need to hear?
I think what I latched onto, the good news, was just how steady Jesus was through the whole thing. Even when the disciples are talking about how could they be at our table, and then he sees that the Pharisees are preaching about him, and he sees Jesse there. He doesn't get anxious. He is steady. He knows what he's about. And I've said this before. Jesus is about his Father's mission. Everything else is just noise.
Yeah.
And holding on to the steadiness of Jesus.
Yeah. So for me, I think there's two pieces of good news. The first is that Jesus meets Jesse right where he is. He doesn't have to somehow pull himself up by his own bootstraps. Right. He doesn't have to change his circumstance. Jesus meets him right in that circumstance, at that pool that he's been sitting by for years and years and years. Right, for me, in the middle of that cynicism and that pain. The other thing that in that conversation that Jesus has with his disciples at the table, he said something needs to change. So they're like, Matthew's saying, how's everybody going to fit at this table?
Yeah,
how's everybody going to fit in Jerusalem?
He's like, I won't bore you with calculations.
Yeah. And all the other disciples are like, no, I'm not on board with this.
Yeah.
And Jesus says, well, something's going to need to change.
Yeah.
And, I mean, for me, like whenever I hit that place where it feels hopeless or I feel very cynical, I think Jesus kind of grabs me by the face and is like, something needs to change.
Yeah.
The other thing is that whenever my cynicism involves other people and I deem them as my enemies, it's really, really hard for me to believe that they're going to sit at the same table as me. I don't really want them at the same table.
Right.
And so I can resonate with that like, no.
Can't have it just be like a cafeteria where we like pick our own spot. Yeah.
I mean, we can be in the same building,
Yeah,
but not the same table. You know, I don't even really like them.
Yes.
And so something has to change.
Absolutely.
Something has to change in here. Something has to change in the way that I see the world. I need new lenses. Like, there's some things that need to change. So, one more question. So something does change. Simon sees Jesse be healed. It changes his heart. What's the emotion that came up for you as you were watching the end of the episode?
I think it continues on to the next one, so I'm trying to think. I loved the line when Simon writes the letter and says, when I see you standing on 2 feet, I know the Messiah is here. And he is about to do something irreversible with killing the magistrate. And he sees his brother standing on 2 feet. And that's what changes everything. And it's just, he didn't even see Jesus. He saw what Jesus had done.
So what emotion comes up for you whenever you think about that?
I can't really put my finger on an emotion, but the fact that I don't get to see Jesus in person, but I get to see what he's done. And that can still change me.
That's good.
Yeah.
For me, it's joy. Like, and I've experienced this. There's this weird joy, maybe peace that has happened all throughout this TV show, watching these moments when these people have their lives like, it's like a flower in spring that comes open.
Yeah.
Things change because of their interaction with the person of Jesus. And maybe it gives me an assurance. I don't know what it is, but it leads to tears. Like all of it.
Absolutely.
And emotions are good. They're great indicators to help us see that something's going on. And this whole show, I just am moved to like some deep emotion thinking, gosh, I've experienced this in my own life, but I want more of this.
Yeah.
And I see that in this episode where, I mean, obviously Jesse experiences it with being healed, but Simon also is healed because he watches what Jesus does with his brother. So it's good. All right. Anything else?
No, I think that covers it. It's
All right,
a good one.
good. I hope this leads to such wonderful conversations and some breakthroughs in your walk with Jesus. And we will be back next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.